Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America and Alvin Bragg. The walls are closing in on him. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. Alvin Bragg is busy prosecuting former President Donald Trump for a paperwork crime, while real crimes are happening across his city. And as Alan Dershowitz points out, these campus protests where students were held hostage. It doesn't appear he's going to prosecute any of the culprits involved in this because Alvin Bragg prosecutes the cases he wants against the enemies he has, and he doesn't prosecute the people and the causes he likes. And Dershowitz gets into great detail here about the actions that can be taken right now against Bragg and the schools, and he also posts that this is a federal crime. What happened was a federal crime. It's what the late O.J. Simpson went to prison for. Let's take a look at it, and then let me know what you think when you like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm Carmine Sabia for Explain America. We love you guys. God bless you. Take care, everybody.
Becomes a more serious crime. But we'll see. We'll see if Bragg, the DA who is going after Donald Trump for a non crime, will let these kids get away with committing a crime. It wouldn't surprise me. Which is why on Hannity last night, I suggested that lawyers should volunteer, and many already have, to join a group which I have called Heard a Jew, We Sue You, so that we can bring lawsuits against these thugs, these Hamas supporters. You have a right to support Hamas. You have a right to say we are Hamas. I'm not sure you have a right to be a student at Columbia University or to get a job after university if you make outrageous statements like that. But you do have a right to make those statements and not be convicted of crime. But you have no right to break into a building. You have no right to trespass. You have no right to cause damage in the building, and you certainly have no right to keep two janitors hostages for several hours before you let them out. O.J. Simpson went to jail for that exact crime. There was a gun involved there, obviously, and there was no gun involved here, but it doesn't matter under the law generally. If you by force keep somebody from leaving, that's another serious crime. So we'll see if there's any prosecution. If it's up to District Attorney Bragg, he just seems to be very clear that he goes after people he doesn't like and doesn't go after people he likes. But let's see, maybe he'll have a change of heart. Maybe he'll go after these people. But if he doesn't, I think we have to make sure that they don't get away with it. And one way of assuring that is bringing civil lawsuits, and you can under the Civil Rights Act. Under the Civil Rights Act, it is a federal crime. You can bring it in federal court. It's also a federal tort to conspire with others to deny somebody their civil rights based on religion or race, and that's what's happened here. There is a conspiracy. There's no doubt in my mind, and the conspirators include the people who paid for these, many of them illegal demonstrations. It's a nationwide conspiracy. These things didn't just pop up accidentally. Signs seem to be the same. The tents seem to be the same, at least in many, many areas. And so I suspect there are, as Mayor Adams said, outside people involved in organizing and encouraging these kinds of unlawful protests. And one thing good about a civil lawsuit is you get discovery. So we'll sue if we can find a plaintiff who was hurt. It could be Jewish or not Jewish, doesn't really matter. But if you find a plaintiff who was hurt and you find the person who hurt that person, and we can do it by facial identification, we can do it by getting the names of people who were arrested. And if we find a plaintiff and a defendant, we will file a lawsuit. And if that lawsuit survives a motion to dismiss it, which it will, then we get discovery. We find out who paid for the tent. We find out what's on the emails. We find out a great many things that we now don't really know. And so a civil lawsuit has the virtue of discovery, whereas a criminal case, it's up to the prosecution. If the prosecution doesn't want to bring it, it disappears. Even if they do want to bring it, they can issue subpoenas or not as they choose. We have no control over that. Whereas if you bring a civil lawsuit, we do have control over that. And so I think a civil lawsuit is the remedy. And I've mentioned I've already gotten about 25 volunteers, lawyers, including some from big law firms, and one who used to work for Columbia, and others who just, many non Jews, who've said, look, we can't stand what we're seeing on campuses and what they're doing to students and closing down the universities and threatening and harassing. UCLA, it broke out into fights and the police didn't come for 3 hours. And even the governor, Governor Newsom, is upset in California about why the police didn't respond more quickly, really leaving it to the Jewish students to fend for themselves and engage in self-defense. When I was a very young lawyer, I represented the Jewish Defense League, and they would teach kids self-defense. In fact, their motto was "Every Jew at 22." I hope we never get back to that, because I would like to see the police take primary responsibility for protecting anybody, no matter what their ethnicity is, no matter what their background, no matter what their religion, no matter what their political affiliations, Zionist or non-Zionist. So we'll see. By the way, speaking of Zionist and non-Zionist, House